Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today in Google's Hangout On Air. My name is Sandra. I work on the University Programs team in Google, based in Dublin. The team that I'm on, we manage university relations across EMEA, and I'm mainly focused on student opportunities for non-technical positions. So today I'm going to give you an overview about what you can expect in our Hangout On Air. So I'll talk to you about our Google Summer Intern Program, student opportunities. We're going to find out from Googlers what it's like working and living in Dublin and Wrocław and in Google. And we're also going to give you an overview of the recruiting process and help you with lots of tips and tricks. So I'm joined by 4 Googlers today, and I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves in a few moments. But first of all, I wanted to explain that we're going to talk to you a lot today about SMB doc. So I wanted to explain that first of all, doc is basically what we refer to as the German-speaking market. So it's Austria, Switzerland, and Germany. And then SMB also stands for small and medium-sized businesses. So before we get into a lot of the detail, I'm going to pass you over to my colleagues to introduce themselves.
So, hello everyone, I'm Miriam. I'm in the SMB services team for DACH. And I've been in the team for almost a year now. I started last year in April. It's been quite a while. Yeah, I can tell you some interesting things today.
Yeah, hello everyone, I'm Timo. I'm from Germany. I work for the SMB sales part. And I joined Google also last year in the summer. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to the talk today and telling you a little bit about our life and our work here. And we're looking forward to also your questions later on.
Hi guys, my name is Kasia, so I'm a recruitment specialist within our staffing programs teams. I'm based in Wrocław in Poland, and all in all, I've been with Google for the last 3.5 years. So I'm really happy to be here with you today.
Hi, my name is Alicia, and I'm also in Wrocław, based in Wrocław in Poland, and I work as Miriam in one team in the customer experience team, so the SMB services.
Thanks, guys. So first of all, I wanted to give you an overview about student opportunities in Google because I get asked a lot of questions about how students can join Google when I do campus events. So first of all, if you're in your second last year in your studies, so that's what we call your penultimate year, so if you're graduating in 2016, the best way to engage with Google for opportunities would be to apply for our summer intern program. So this is a 10 to 12 week program that usually starts and runs from June to September. It's a fantastic program. It has opportunities across a range of different teams in Google and across a lot of our EMEA offices. When you do join, you get to work on projects that are really impactful to our business. You get to network with a lot of Googlers and also build a really strong network of other interns who are spending the summer in our different Google offices. So the application process for our intern program is open at the moment, but will be closing within the next couple of weeks. So if it's something that you're interested in, we'll talk to you about more details of that at the end of the Hangout. And Kasia's also going to give you an overview about what the recruiting process would look like for the intern program. But if you are graduating this year and looking for full-time positions, most of our opportunities for graduates are within our SMB sales and global customer experiences teams. So I'm going to let the experts talk to you a little bit about those positions and give you an overview of what a day-to-day looks like. So I'm going to start with Timo. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
If you were to give an overview of your role, what a day-to-day looks like in 2 minutes, how would you describe it?
Okay, well, so I work for the SMB sales section. And what we do is we work with small and medium clients in the German, Austrian, and Swiss market. And we consult them how to advertise online with Google. So we talk about Google products like Search, the display network, YouTube, develop a strategy for mobile. And what is really nice about it is that we often talk with the CEO or the CMO or with their strategic or advertising agency, and we become a trusted partner for them. So we also develop their entire marketing strategy for their online and sometimes also their offline activities with them together. So basically this is our day-to-day. and it's really nice to see a direct impact in what we do with them on a daily basis.
Good. And Alicia, maybe you could give us an overview of your role also.
Yes, so the difference between our team is mostly that both are customer facing, but our team is more reactive. So the customer would contact us more than we contact the customer. So the customer would contact us with different issues, issues that we are there to help him with, to troubleshoot. And also we do the same part as Timo, a little bit differently. We also help the customer to develop his campaigns and the account and whatever other consulting there might be necessary for the customer. So the range of questions and product is very, very big. So the good part of our job is that actually you never stop learning, and you definitely never get bored at the job. So in order to troubleshoot the questions of the customer, we work very closely with other teams around Google, but also with our teammates, so within the DACH team. That's a very good thing. And also, by consulting the customer, we also see the impact actually of the customer's business. So we really see that what we do, what does it change for the customer. And the good thing as well is that we are always encouraged to think out of the box, to be creative, to be innovative. And the job gives us a very good product knowledge. A very good product knowledge is a very good start for our career at Google.
Brilliant. And every associate account strategist who joins SMB, either within the sales or the global customer experience team, automatically is enrolled in our business associate program. So Miriam, could you give an overview of that program and why this is such a benefit of joining?
Yes, it's a pretty cool program actually, because it goes on for 2 years. So it's a BA, Business Associate program, and in the first year, we have each quarter we have like something like a seminar training kind of thing where we focus on different topics. So the thing is, this whole year or the second year as well is like a preparation for your future career within Google. So it's not only about improving your core job that you're doing already every day, but it's also on growing your network within Google. It's about learning about leadership. It's about Googliness, which is a very typical thing within Google to know about and to act on. And that's the whole first year. So our first session was pretty amazing with really cool team activities. And it goes on for a whole year. The next year, you have the option to select some courses you want to grow on. So this course is really good for people who just leave university, for example, to see like hands-on within the business, to see where do I want to grow, and then they can, for example, in their second year, select a course like, I don't know, it could be in marketing, finance, or more technical, more with SQL or web development or things like that. So they're supporting us to finding our way within the company, basically.
Brilliant. And I think another great benefit of working in Google is internal mobility, which is the option to move roles and teams and offices, is really prevalent across all teams in Google. And it's definitely a big benefit of working there. So a lot of Googlers may start their career in one particular office and end up relocating to other offices in Europe or to North America, and the opportunities are really up for you to take advantage of. So I suppose we're broadcasting from our Dublin office, but we wanted to hear a little bit more about the Wrocław office. So our office in Wrocław is really centrally located. So there's a few really nice photos there to give you an overview of the office. But Alicia, maybe you could talk to us a little bit more about the teams that are in the Wrocław office and why you love working there.
Yes. So I do work in the Wrocław office together with Kasia. And the Wrocław office, like you can see at the pictures, is it's really a very nice office, like all the Google offices, but this one as well, with a beautiful view from the window. This is actually a picture taken from one of our windows by our colleague, you know, the one that you see at the bottom left. So the beautiful one. And as you can see, we have the on-site gym in our office. We would have yoga classes with an instructor, of course. We would have kickboxing classes. We have other things like the on-site messages or a beautician coming into the office, hairdresser. So different things that are really great about the office, about working in the Wrocław office. But what makes the office so special are people, like everywhere. And so the office is very, like, we are something like between 150 and 200 people, and the office is very, very international. So we have people from Europe, of course, from all over Europe, but not only Europe, actually. We have many people, especially in other languages teams, like the Spanish team from South America. We will have people from Canada and from all over the world. And the good thing about the size of the office is that we get to know each other. And so we get to know not only people from like DACH team, but also people from different teams. So the office is big enough, but it's still safe, familiar. So if you want to have lunch in this beautiful canteen that you can also see at the picture, here at the left corner, you just can sit wherever you want. You know the people, or even if you don't know them very well, you at least know them by name, which is a very positive thing about the Wrocław office.
Brilliant. I'm actually planning to go to the Wrocław office soon, so I'm really excited to go and sample that food and check out those views. And we're based in the Dublin office, and this is the headquarters for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So it's sometimes known as the EMEA Silicon Valley. So the Google office is located in a really central part of Dublin, and there are a lot of other tech companies located close by. So there's always a lot happening in and around this neighborhood. But I wanted to ask Timo, I says, what do you love working about in the Dublin office?
Yeah.
What made you choose
choose Dublin? Well, as you said already, I think Dublin is a really tech hub in Europe and for this region as well. So we have conferences like the Web Summit, we have other big companies here, and Google itself is also a very diverse and international company here at this position. So we have, I have colleagues on my floor from the Nordics, or from Denmark, or from Norway, of course, people from Austria and Germany and Switzerland. Yeah, so in all my surroundings, there are people from all over this region, and I think in total it's more than 65 nationalities working here in Dublin. So it's a really vibrant and international crowd, and the atmosphere is really amazing. So this is one big advantage of Dublin here. It's already been mentioned that it's the headquarters, so it's a really big campus here. We got I don't know how many employees exactly. I think it's between 3,000 or 4,000, so it's quite a few. Which sounds a lot, but at the same time, the atmosphere is it's like a family atmosphere in a way. Sometimes when you go for coffee at the barista, or when you have lunch at one of our restaurants, which are really good, by the way. So come and check them out. Or when you meet up at TJF, so on Fridays we always have a gathering where you can meet people from other teams, from other countries, and chat with them and see what's going on in their working and life in general. So that's what I really like about here, living and working in Dublin.
You can see a few photos as well of our Dublin office on the screen at the moment. So we have I think it is 6 buildings now in Dublin, and each one is themed a little differently. So there's a couple of overviews of some of our buildings. So I think Timo and Alicia mentioned, so regardless of the office that you're located in, there's such a great atmosphere as well. There's a lot of spaces in all of our office to that we would consider them as like breakout areas where you can go and grab a coffee and spend time with, you know, team members and chat to Googlers who aren't necessarily working on your team. So the Google offices are really set up to be able to like encourage that social interaction. But Miriam, I suppose, what is it about like kind of working and living in Dublin that you enjoy and that made you kind of also choose Dublin?
Yeah, I really like Dublin. Dublin is like it's the capital, but it's still not like huge that you get completely lost in the capital. It's really cute and nice, and it's really I really love the whole pub culture and everything. It's amazing, and I must really say that I think all the people I've met here, they're super nice, right? Regardless of if they're in Google or outside of Google, everyone's super nice here. But except for that, you can do so many things here. You can the nature is amazing. I don't think that's any surprise to any of you. Other than that, what I enjoy a lot here are like I love to go on concerts, and Dublin happens to be some kind of hub for that, and like all the small artists and like all the little bands, they do make a stop in Dublin, so I take advantage of that. That's what I love most about it. But other than that, I think Timo also mentioned that you have people from everywhere. I love the fact that I have friends who come from all over the world, and yeah, sometimes it's I don't know, like some leave as well, but then you have friends all over the world, and you can visit each one of them.
True, and I mean, I think, you know, quite a lot of our Googlers, it's over, you know, I think 80% of our Googlers or more, you know, are not originally from Dublin either, and I'm sure it's, you know, very similar that a lot of people have relocated to, you know, to Wrocław. And when you're, you know, based in an office that is not, you know, where you're currently from, you know, it's important to build a network when you're here. But do you get the opportunity to travel home much as well?
Yeah. So for us, we're a bit flexible about that. We could even work from another office for a few days in a quarter, so that's really good. And also for me to fly home to Germany, it's quite easy. So even if it's for a weekend or a bit longer, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
at least, yeah.
It's the same for me. So here in Dublin, I'm actually closer to visit my friends and my parents at home than I was when I lived in Germany at some point. So we live 20 minutes away from the airport, so you're there right away. You can take flights for the weekend, go home, or go to other places in Europe within a few hours, which is really nice, and a lot of people take advantage of that as well. The other point you mentioned, working in other offices. So this year I've already worked from Hamburg and Berlin, so I could spend some time in Germany as well. But then, as you said, there are also really good reasons to stay in Dublin and take advantage of the city here as well.
And we just finished celebrating St. Patrick's Day as well. So Dublin was definitely a great location to be during this week. But I wanted to hand you over to Kasia and chat a little bit about the recruiting process in Google. So I guess the recruiting process.
Jeszcze raz próbuję się wgrywać, czy co?
Rumors about Google's recruiting process, but it's pretty straightforward. So if Kasia, if you can kind of hear us now, maybe you can kind of help put some of the rumors to rest and talk to the students about what's involved when they're interviewing with us.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. So let's maybe start from the hiring process that we have for internships. So it's of course slightly different from the one that we'll be following for the full-time offers. So here in internships, we conduct 2 phone interviews. Normally, one of those interviews will be conducted by the manager from the team you're applying for, plus 1 more interview with the member from the business, so again from the team that you're trying to get into. Normally, those will be like 2 half-an-hour interviews, and of course it can be a phone interview, but depending on the preferences from the hiring manager, it can also be a video conference, and it can also be a hangout. As you can see, that there is a kind of a quick turnaround, because after those 2 phone interviews, we can actually go straight to the offer. Now, if we can have a look at the process for full-time offers. As you can see, we've got 2 more stages added. So the process will start from phone interviews again. Here, the first 4 interview will be definitely conducted by your recruiter, which will be actually a point of contact throughout the whole recruitment process. Another phone interview will be conducted again by somebody from the business, so a member of the team that you're applying for, and normally somebody that actually works in the role that you're applying for. If you're successful in phone interviews, then we can progress to the on-site interviews. Normally, we would invite you to the office that you're applying for. So let's say if you're applying for a role in Wrocław, we would definitely invite you to Wrocław. So basically, you can actually have those interviews face-to-face. You can get the chance to meet the team and, of course, explore the city as well if you haven't been here before. So we would do 3 up to 4 interviews during one day, back-to-back. Each of those interviews will be testing something different. So there are actually 4 main areas that will be tested. And again, at this stage, you have a chance to speak with the manager from the team. After all of those interviews, if everybody are supportive of your application, then we can move on to committee review stage. So here, your recruiter will be preparing a kind of a case, a kind of a dossier about your application. We will gather relevant information about your profile, about your experience. We will also gather the feedback, the positive feedback from interviewers that had a chance to talk to you throughout the process, and we will present that all information to the committee. So if the committee at the very end approves your profile, then we can move on to the offer stage. So that will be already the moment that we will be able to extend you an offer for one of our jobs. So as you can see, the process is definitely longer than the one we just discussed for the internship process. Of course, from the staffing perspective, we will do our best to make sure that the process is smooth and that we're going to progress basically as fast as we can. But on the other hand, it's all highly dependent. How long exactly the process will take is highly dependent on your availability, but also on the availability of our own interviewers.
Applications. What are some good tips to give students about the do's and don'ts of CVs?
So definitely, after 3.5 years at Google and reviewing thousands of resumes, there are a couple of do's and don'ts that we can definitely share. So what definitely to keep in mind when preparing the application? First of all, this is you are representing yourself in your resume, in your CV. You're trying to sell yourself. So it's really important what information you want to highlight in your CV, whether you're actually putting enough focus on the right information. So for me as a recruiter, what would be definitely important to see is your accomplishments and achievements from each of the jobs and roles that you're mentioning in your professional experience. So it's good also to mention your responsibilities, day-to-day tasks, but actually what interests us the most is the impact that you had in each of those roles, which links and leads to another point, which is use a lot of data and metrics in your CV. This is a kind of something that can really tell us whether you are successful in your previous roles. So, for example, if you're applying for a sales role at Google and in the past you had a chance to work in sales positions, definitely include your metrics, metrics, input your quotas, increase your targets. So let's say if you are constantly overachieving your targets, this is definitely something that we would like to know when looking looking at your profile. Another point also that we can make is, and this may seem a bit obvious, but again, it actually happens quite often, is spelling mistakes actually. So so it can seem a bit trivial to reject application on the basis of like minor spelling or grammar mistakes, but on the other hand, take into consideration how many applications we receive every week, and we can count that in thousands. This is like really fiercely competitive labor market where the hiring manager don't have to compromise the quality. So from the recruiter perspective, if I look at two profiles with the same experience, with really similar background, with similar education, and one of them actually have spelling mistakes, I probably will be leaning towards more the application that is actually spotless, and which in a way can tell us how detail-oriented you are.
You've put a lot of work into putting together a really great CV, and Kasia or a member of the recruiting team has reviewed your application and you're invited for interview. Kasia, what are maybe some tips that you could give to the students to help them through the interview process?
Of course. So there are definitely like two main points that I mentioned to all of my candidates when preparing them for the interview. What is definitely important to take your time and do research and prepare yourself for the interview, especially when you are already at the on-site stage. This is already next interviews, so in a way it's required from you to take some time and into preparation. So of course, do research about the role that you're applying, know the exact responsibilities, what would be required from you. At the same time, the team that you're applying, try to also do research about Google, who we are, what is overall Google's strategy, and also the products, especially the products that are relevant for the role that you're applying. For example, with account strategists, like AdWords knowledge is pretty important. Remember that we definitely don't require from you expert or specialist knowledge, but as I said, it really tells us if you took time to do research about those products and you have that information, it definitely tells us something during the interviews. Another thing important to mention is actually how you communicate and how you structure answers during your interviews. I always encourage all candidates to read and try to use STAR technique of answering questions, especially really useful with answering behavioral questions. So S stands here for situation, T for task, A for action, and R for result. So when answering questions in plenty of situations, you will be describing particular examples, projects, or situation. So always first try to give a quick overview of the situation you are in, then the task you had, then of course the action you did, and at the very end try to sum up really concisely, basically, the end result of particular situation. Like this definitely gonna help you keep the right structure, and at the same time gonna help the interviewer to understand you better, and basically understand the impact you had in particular situation.
Brilliant, that's amazing. That's lots of tips. But I mean, you know, Alicia, Timo, Miriam, you obviously went through the recruiting process and were successful. Is there anything else that you would add to what Kasia's spoken about? How did you prepare for your interviews? Any extra tips that you might give?
I would say what really helps is get in as much information as you can. So if you know someone who has worked here before, who has done an internship, or who's currently working here, ask them about it. Ask them what how their work is like how their relation with their colleagues is. So just try to get as much information as possible, which is really helpful in the interview itself.
Maybe I'll add just one more thing to that. I think what is also good, like you, we would require that you have some professional experience, that you have years of customer experience. What is important is what you have done so far. So maybe think of things that you have as a student already, like even students organizations, examples that what did you do actually, and what was the impact of what you have done so far. And for us it's really interesting to get to know like your past experiences, but not necessarily only professional experience.
Brilliant. And I mean, we spoke about Dublin and Wrocław and what great locations they are to live and work in. But if you are, not from Dublin and you're not from Wrocław and you have to relocate, that can be, a pretty scary thought. So I guess before kind of asking our Googlers how they found, relocating to a different country, Kasia, maybe you could give an overview about what Google does to help students when they relocate and support them through the process.
Of course. So yes, we do provide relocation support, and basically we provide like a general relocation package when appropriate. This is especially relevant to a candidate that of course needs to move to other countries, let's say to work in Wrocław or to work in Dublin. So basically we're gonna help you cover the cost of your relocation to a particular country. Plus, which is also very important, we're gonna provide you with support throughout the whole process. We're gonna provide you with the right advice. We're also gonna provide you with resources that definitely will be very useful with different information about the housing, some tips from older Googlers that have to relocate, and overall, like from our side, we're definitely going to do our best just to make sure that the process will be smooth for you, and basically the process is going to be less stressful and less painful on your side.
Alicia, I know that you've been living and been based in Wrocław, so you haven't relocated. But a lot of your teams and colleagues have. How have they found the relocation process to Wrocław and settling in?
Mm-hmm. Yes, so I work in the team where I'm actually the only one that is from the city. So I did not relocate myself. But as we are very international and most of my colleagues are from somewhere else in Europe, they keep relocating. So I think like the people that we also would like to have working with us are the people that like changes and challenges that come with it. So moving to Poland, like for some of you, maybe you have not yet visited Poland or Wrocław, but you should definitely do that. Wrocław is a city, it's a very open city. It's a very international city. People speak English, and it's not a difficult thing to find housing or sign the contract, or then sign for the internet contract or whatever. And then you always will have people that would in the office would help you. That is like at the beginning, you probably would reach out to the Polish speakers for some things to help you with, and this is absolutely a completely normal thing, and we always do that. But like, don't think of relocating to a country where you don't speak the language of something that is more difficult, because I don't think so actually. And maybe can I use the chance to speak a little bit about Wrocław as a city, because I spoke about the Wrocław office, but I think Wrocław is really worth mentioning. As I said, I'm actually from Wrocław, so I love this city, and I definitely think it's not only my perspective, but it's a really beautiful city, and it's a city that you also should see. It's really a lovely city. It's a big city. It's not a small one. So in German, it would be Breslau for those that don't know the Polish name for the city. And the office is located in the city center. So most of the Googlers will also live like close to the city center probably. And the good thing about the office, about Wrocław in general, is that if you look at the map of Europe, actually we are in the Europe's heart, in the middle. So we are very close to Berlin. It's a 3 hours drive to Berlin, but to Dresden even closer, I think it's something like 2 hours as well, close to Prague. So it's really also very central and very well communicated. And it's a big city. It's like we have more than 600,000 people living in Wrocław, and on top of that, something like 50 to 100,000 students. So it's a young, dynamic city, and for all of the people that relocate to Wrocław, they very quickly find their ways, their favorite places, and the city has a lot to offer. Like next year, Wrocław will be the European capital of culture, so there will be even more things coming. And we are close to the mountains, so we can go skiing in winter. So what we do also on the office level, there's always an email on weekends. So this Saturday, where do we go? So it's really a good place. And relocating in Wrocław, I think it's something like you will have only good memories of. This will not be something difficult or very challenging either.
Brilliant. And Miriam, Timur, was there anything you wanted to add? Like, how did you find, relocating to Dublin?
Well, usually what's really nice is you'd start with a group of nooglers. Nooglers is a term for new Googlers here. So it's always like yeah, exactly, that's the head. And you have a week of orientation, so you wouldn't be alone. And there's also other people who are looking for accommodation. And usually in Germany, it's often the case that you would find a place to live before you actually move to a city. This doesn't necessarily happen here in Dublin because the housing market, it turns really fast. You just look online and you can just come by and look at the apartment right away. And then you can meet up with other colleagues, and a lot of colleagues actually live together in a shared accommodation here. And yeah, this is also really nice because you get the support from your Noogler group and also from Google itself. There's a relocation seminar. They help you set up the bank account and then all these formalities for you.
Yeah, I've heard Googlers reference that relocating for a new position in Google is similar to like relocating for university, and an extension of that process. So brilliant. So we are going to be finishing up the Hangout shortly, but we wanted to answer any questions that you might have. So we have a Q&A app. If anybody wants to submit questions, they can do that. But first of all, I'm going to kind of ask the Googlers, a question myself. We talk a lot about, the benefits of working in Google, but what are maybe some of the more challenging aspects of working in your current role or team?
Should I go?
Yeah.
It's
what
hard to think
yeah.
of something challenging, but I think it'll be interesting
Yeah.
to hear.
It's maybe two sides of one medal. It's also a challenging part, but it's also really interesting. And what I like about SMB sales is that you work with a lot of different clients from different verticals or industries. So when you start here at Google, you get a really good overview of what is out there in the market. So in the morning, you could have a meeting with a client or a call with a client in the fast-moving consumer goods industry, and then you talk with a healthcare client in the afternoon. So this is really, you need some kind of flexibility to cope with all that's going on in that specific vertical. But at the same time, it's really interesting for yourself, and you learn a lot, and also you learn what marketing strategy would work for this client, but wouldn't make any sense for the other one. So so as I said, this is really challenging on one side, but also keeps the job really interesting and new every day.
Yeah, for me, it's more about learning as much as possible. In the beginning, it was really difficult too because I knew AdWords a little bit, but when I started the job, I had to know pretty much everything about it, and the troubleshooting and everything. I learned so much stuff in the beginning, and my learning curve keeps on growing. It's this, I keep on learning new things every day, every single day. But in the beginning, it was really overwhelming. I mean, it was good for my learning progress, but that's something I found challenging to cope with all the information you get and all the knowledge and everything. So, yeah.
So I'm just looking, so I got one of the questions we have here is how are the clients selected that you work with? Do you select them, or are they assigned to you?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you want to explain from a sales perspective how your portfolio of clients works, and then Lisha, Mary, we can talk about how you interact with clients as well.
Okay, so as you mentioned, we work with a portfolio. Mm-hmm. So the size of the portfolio and the clients you treat in the portfolio differs with respect to the team you're in SMB itself. So as I already mentioned, it could be that you're working with direct clients, so with the business owner or the marketing department of a company itself, or you could also treat an agency. So this would be one way of segmenting the portfolio itself. then it's also up to you. It's also up to you how you structure the clients that you call and the clients that you interact with. So you can look, for instance, what are the clients that have seasonal aspects in this quarter for itself. So the last quarter, this was Christmas season, so you'd probably call different clients than you would call in the first quarter of a year. Another point, you would definitely pick the clients that you would evaluate have the biggest growth potential and focus all your energy and investment on that. There's also a difference in how often you would touch the client in SMB itself. So there are programs where you have repeated contact with the clients, you can interact on a more continuous basis, and other programs where it's more high scale or one touch. So this will also affect how you would choose and select the clients.
Mariam, do you want to add?
Yeah, for us, it's more about if the customer wants to contact us or not. So we don't actively contact the customers, but we mostly work with, let's say, with accounts which are a bit more like not sophisticated in that sense, but like more complex. Yeah. So if they have any technical issues and things like that, we also help them with easier stuff, obviously, but especially with technical stuff, they would get in touch with us, for example, and we would try to work with our engineers and everything to give them a solution. So in that sense, we don't choose them, but they choose us. They choose to contact us, and we do our best to solve their problems, because many people depend on AdWords so much that we want to help them and make sure they can get back on track.
Just one more thing, that it's what's interesting. Like the customer contacts us, but it's not only it's not purely AdWords customers, which is also interesting and challenging. Like answering the first question about the job, it's not only AdWords, and it's important to know there are different Google products. So we would support AdWords, of course, but also Google Analytics and also Google Shopping that you might know. So all the customers that are into online advertising, Google online advertising, it can be also the YouTube ads, the ads on YouTube would contact us.
So I mean that's it for today, I'm afraid. I just wanted to thank all of our Googlers, Miriam, Timo, Kasia and Alicia in Wrocław. Wanted to give a big thank you to everybody who has given up their Friday afternoon to let us chat to you about opportunities and what it's like working for Google in Dublin and in Wrocław. We really hope you got a lot of insight from that. If you are interested in finding out more about our opportunities in Dublin or Wrocław, there are 2 links that you can view, and they are, you'll also find this on the Hangout description, but you can apply on our Google student career site, and the links are listed now on the screen. And also we have a link where you can upload your CV if you would like to be considered for opportunities also, and that was shared in the email and posters promoting today's Hangout. So really hope that you found it useful and that you're interested and excited about working with Google, and we hope to see lots of applications from you soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.